while we're finishing up the tiny house, we're keen to showcase as many alternative ideas for downsized living as possible. So when the opportunity came up for us to team up with the folks at Lotus Bell Tents, we absolutely jumped at the chance. Today we're building the platform for our Lotus Bell tent, which is actually a similar kind of construction to what you'd be building for a yurt platform, so it's just as good for those as well. So today we're going to show you how we're building the platform and also give you a little bit of insight into what we're building here. So this is already day 3 of the build, and one of the reasons why this is actually taking so long for us to construct in this place is because we have no power here. So all of the materials not only have to be carried quite a long way to site, we also have no access to power tools and drop saws or anything like that. So pretty much everything is being done with hand saws and hammers, which is actually really nice because especially here in this really beautiful natural environment, it's not flooded with the sounds of horrible saws and that sort of thing, which is really nice. To show you exactly what we're doing, this here is the main focus. So this is a decagon shaped deck platform that we're building especially for the Lotus Bell tent. The Lotus Bell tent is in a decagon shape, so we've actually constructed the deck so it will match up and line up with the supports of the tent. We're not just building the platform though, because our intention here is to create this as a place that will have absolutely everything we need for happy living off the grid. Right now I'm going to take you on a little bit of a pre-tour just to show you what we're working on and what our plans are for this space. So this here will be the space that we erect the tent, the front of it being right here. Now off this part here we're actually intending on building a deck platform that will be cantilevered right here and come all the way around this side to give us a nice big deck area. Now over here you can see we've already put a post in the ground for what will eventually be our bathroom. So this post is actually going to mount the whole bathroom platform off it with additional supports that will be coming up to support and hold the 2-meter structure. And this platform is going to be built in an octagon shape. To support that, we're going to have additional members that will be coming out from this post and coming up to create the span and the appropriate support that we need to support this platform up here. To join the two, we're actually going to be building a rope bridge. Now the idea is that for this project we want to do it quickly, we want to do it affordably, and this is hopefully going to create a wonderful space for Mel and I to live in while we're finishing the tiny house and allow us to bring you some great different downsized living videos while we're waiting on the tiny house to be finished. So the first step for us on this platform was to get the round posts in the ground. So to start with, we put in our anchor post. Now that is a post that we've dug into the ground around 600 deep, and we've done that with a footing that's shaped like this so that we could put in additional concrete and also really get that compression footing so that it's going to be nice and secure in the ground. We then run out our parallel posts and put those into place and set them. From this point we simply ran a string line right the way around what would be the edge of the platform, and obviously that radius has actually been taken from the radius of our Lotus Bell tent, which is around 2.5 meters. The distance between each of these posts was really just worked out by dividing up the amount of posts that would be required for us to create the decagon shape, which is 10. So once we had everything measured out, it was time for us to put the posts in the ground. So our center post is the anchor post, which in this case is about 600 millimeters deep. All of the other posts have been dug in at around 300 millimeters. Now that's really just to create enough compression and enough strength to hold them in place, but they're not really anchoring like the center post is, which is most important. Once the posts were all in the ground, once the concrete had cured and set, we were able to start work on the substructure, which in this case is our joists here. For the joists here, we've actually just used 150mm by 50mm rough sawn timber. Now in this particular case, because it's a deck structure, we don't really rely on the accuracy of the timber, so it's actually okay just to get rough sawn, which is also a much more cost-effective option. So when it comes to laying the joists, we've actually put these in a radial pattern which follows that decagon shape. So it's actually quite a unique and beautiful structure. In some ways it's a little bit of a shame to be covering this up because I really like the geometry in this. But I know it looks quite complicated, but really what we've actually just done is we've just run main support members through so that we have one main joist sitting on each and every one of those support posts. We've then just created an additional circle of supports that run around that anchor post, and then have run cross members in between the two here, just to give it that little bit of extra strength so that our decking doesn't have to span too far and we don't get too much spring in the floor. To hold these in place, we are just using these nails here, which are galvanized 150mm or 6-inch nails, also known as vampire stakes, just to hold everything in place really securely. If you are attempting to do a deck structure like this, the one thing that I really want to get through to you is that it's not difficult. You don't have to fret about getting everything absolutely accurate and perfect. It's really okay to make a few mistakes, because this kind of structure is very forgiving. So my advice is just to get your hammer out, get some mates together, and you could knock this out in a couple of days. And now it's time for us to get started laying down the deck. So because of the decagon shape, we've actually decided to lay everything in a radial pattern. So all of the lengths of wood are radiating out from the center, which actually gives it a really cool, very unique look. Again, it's almost a shame that this deck's actually going to be covered up by a tent, because I love the way that it looks. When it comes to laying the deck, it's really simple. You have your decking material, all you need to do is cut it to length, and then make sure that it's sitting square on the platform, and you nail away. It's a little bit time consuming, but it's actually quite a pleasant job, and I'm stoked with how it's looking. From this point on, we'll be moving on to the bathroom structure, then we'll be building the secondary deck that goes around, the rope bridge that links the two, and hopefully soon as well we'll be getting the tent up so that we can start to get a real idea of how this incredible space is going to look.